Alright, off to New Horizons. And yeah, there's Janus, but we still want to go for Kiavagama first. To spend some more time, hopefully, with Heinrix. Which reminds me, is it working? It is. Cool. We just go to Omicron. Maybe let's go very slowly left and see how we can reach maybe Frozen Prince. Not really sure where Kiavagama is going to be. Guess we'll have to find out. Yeah. And of course, things happen in the warp. Permission to report, Lord Captain. I keep receiving messages about strange behaviors in certain ship systems. All decks report the uncontrollable opening and closing of doors, gates, and airlocks. They behave erratically and do not obey the operator's commands. Regrettably, this has led to casualties among the crew. The tech priests have explained that these phenomena are being caused by the machine spirit irascibility and have spent hours chanting litanies to soothe their anger. Unfortunately, many crew members were badly injured before the prayers could stabilize their systems. Sounds like another indicator that there truly is something weird going on with our ship. Just remember Theodora just laughing it off. Oh well. Yeah, Omicron. I doubt they give a big DLC, if a DLC at all. I mean, regarding BG3, Larian doesn't seem to be too much into DLC, but it could change, so maybe let's just hope it changes. I definitely would take anything more for the game. Some nice fuel. I don't think we're going to explore this planet. Magnetic storm. The magnetic storm raging above the planet blurs the gaze of Augur's arrays. Only truly powerful diviner machines may see through the currents of magnetic fluctuations. In their blessed vigil and discover the mysteries of this emperor-forsaken planet. The rogue trader has decided to leave this unwelcoming world. Maybe he will return here one day. I wonder what we need to explore here. Weird. Oh, we need like a certain improvement to our ship? Ship management? Like a certain upgrade or something? I don't know. A certain component? Well, I guess we'll find out. Not really sure if I'm ever going to go back. Probably I just forget it. Also doesn't look like the nicest planet you want to live on. The ruins of ancient Imperial City were discovered on a dead world completely deprived of an ecosystem. According to the reports, the entire settlement is contained in a titanic glass dome that once held an artificial atmosphere. The augurs detected the framework of 3 other similar structures that were never completed. For whatever reason, the dome system failed, and left behind is a city, this ghost that never managed to become a proper colony of the Imperium. So basically like a failed terraforming attempt? Oh, I wonder if there are some Xenos who just didn't like the idea of humanity coming there. And Edward decides to send out a crew to explore the city's temple district. Ooh, some holy gifts. The temple district is situated at the heart of the city. The God Emperor statue, intricately carved from precious crystal, is suspended beneath the dome, supported by chains of gold, and can be seen from anywhere in the colony. Inspired by the majestic sight, the expedition members set off to explore the area with renewed vigor. Soon enough, they stumbled upon an ancient weapon lying on a pedestal wreathed in sunlight. The expedition brought it back to the ship, and told many tales about how the Emperor himself, who had been watching them from above, had directed their attention to the sacred relic. Ooh, blessed bolter casing. But is a casing a weapon? I mean, it's abandoned, so it would order the scouts to gather as many supplies as possible. What a nice mix. Your people flooded the city like a tidal wave, filled building after building, bunkhouse after bunkhouse, and receded from its quiet streets just as quickly. There were plenty of useful things among their findings, including foodstuffs and weapons. Drain the remaining fuel from the generator stations. The city won't need them anymore. Well, true that. It takes several trips to deliver the massive promethium storage tanks to your vessel. The crew grimly points out the colony was running out of fuel. Had the life support systems not failed prematurely, the locals would still have perished due to the lack of energy. So kinda doomed from the start. Still, poor people. Explore the local palace. A lavishly decorated estate of the local ruler towers over the rows of featureless bunkhouses. Several explorers perished from the cleverly hidden tripwires in the courtyard, but after losing their companions, the team easily disarmed the remaining traps in the estate. Anything of value has been promptly delivered to the rogue trader's vessel. The Lord Captain was even given an exquisite sword found in a secret cache that once belonged to the mansion's owner. A ghost sword and a profit factor. Huh? And the ghost sword is an Aeldari weapon. Interesting. And so we decide to leave the dead city. Neat. Let's just have a very quick look if the weapon is nicer. Not really. Nah. I stay with not really. And we do not have the proficiency for that. Oh well. Terraforming technology is incredibly rare and slow in the Imperium. This doesn't seem like it. But then I wonder, what did they try to do? Or was it just trying to create like some safe domes where they could survive? But I mean, there's so many nicer worlds around here. Might be Xenos terror attack. I mean, that could also be, especially with the Aeldari sword we also found. Sounds like the planet Terrentis. It's covered in huge domed cities, producing vast amounts of food that support other planets and the Ultramarines. Ooh. They also make use of as much moisture as they can get out of the parched planet, setting up large water traps. That's cool. But apparently they didn't make it far, they just tried. Oh, another very neat looking planet. But for 2+ steel we're not going to use our last extractum. Alright. Another world cartographed and explored. Interesting that that Terra doesn't really have any terraforming technologies. It seems so useful, but I mean, then again, they don't seem to develop any new technology, right? If I remember correctly, yeah, on the hunt for knowledge, we still have some data we can give to Opticon 2 too. So, let's say we go back to Trinitos, then go back to Furibundus, maybe stabilize that connection, and then we're going to continue onwards. Because, I mean, otherwise we are going further and further away from Furibundus. And of course, things happen. Lord Captain, I hasten to report the disturbing news brought to me by the machine spirits of the ship. The matter is extremely delicate and concerns Lady Cassia. You see, since her first day aboard, her presence has been a disturbance to the crew's way of life. If you allow it, I have prepared a detailed report. Yeah, well, probably she's also influencing the crew around her, like back on Uruk 5, I think was the name. Alright, deliver your report. The first incident occurred immediately after our departure from Uruk 5. Yes, right name. The Lady Navigator chastised one of the ship's runners, after which we went to his living quarters, killed his family, and then shot himself. Yikes. The second incident was noted while traversing the warp. The Lady Navigator gave the pilots the wrong instructions, and the void ship was thrown off course. For a matter of minutes, but this was enough for the force of the Imperium to anger the machine spirits enough for them to start a fire in the service bay. After that, officers living near the Lady Navigator's quarters began to express extreme emotions. Hysteria, apathy, euphoria, rage. This is quite detrimental to crew morale and performance. The last incident was recorded on Footfall. Around 100 living birds were delivered on board during our stay on Footfall. Each bird cost a hefty thumb, but I have failed to discover their purpose and subsequent fate. I was also told about a conflict between the Lady Navigator and the Seneschal. Alas, I have no details. If you like, you can ask Master Wasarian directly. Things are even worse with Aeldari. I intercepted a voxcast in which she promised she would, and I quote, "end that Cassia if she ever saw her again." Seems like Cassia doesn't really have many friends in the crew. I wonder what happened, if it's just to her navigator powers, or she's a mutant. If I may, Lord Captain, the Lady Navigator's state of mind worries me. She's self-contained and does not mesh with the crew at all, which is why everyone avoids her. Even senior officers can be superstitious. I fear that only you are in a position to talk to her on equal footing and improve the situation, for the sake of the crew's safety and, well, that of Lady Cassia herself. You know what? We're going to do that before going to Furibundus. But first, let's have a look if we can talk with Abelard and Jai. And they are going to tell us something more. Or, well, not. Even the Elder, who are more advanced than us, still take hundreds, possible thousands of years to terraform. It's just not worth the time. Interesting. Like, usually in sci-fi settings, terraforming is, well, not like really simple, but very often it's just a method which is used and viable. Insane. Abelard.
Lord Captain?
I hear you and Cassia exchanged word recently, so what happened?
And who brought this piece of news to you, I wonder? Then again, I have nothing to hide from you. Of late, the helmsmen have been going off course with increasing frequency, and the reports are full of contradicting accounts. The problem continued, even after several demotions were handed out, so I took it upon myself to investigate. I was astonished to learn that our Lady Navigator has been amending entries in the ship's log, and the officers have been keeping silent on her orders. I immediately demanded an end to the outrageous conduct, and I reprimanded Lady Cassia in front of the officers. She greeted my words with silence, and then quickly departed. I should not have acted thus. I never even found out what drove her to do it.
Which is a very good question. Why is she amending ship log entries? Like, for what reason? Terraforming would be worth it if everyone wasn't killing each other all the time. True, and I mean, by killing each other you also free up planets, so you don't need more, right? Oh boy. I have discovered that there are caches left by Theodora somewhere under Gonus and Kiava Gamma. Do you know anything about this?
It is wise for a rogue trader to have caches where they can safely store important information. And utterly unwise to share the coordinates of such caches with anyone. Even one's most trusted associates.
Oh. The shadow of a sad smile appears and immediately vanishes from the Seneschal's face.
I'm afraid I do not know how to find the caches, but I can offer some help. Your predecessor used this numeric code to deactivate certain defense systems in her service. If I know Lady Theodora as well as I think, then I'm quite certain that she left her caches well guarded. In that case, this code will be useful to you.
Ah, neat. Jai. Where are you, Shireen?
May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored with our little talk, Shireen?
I mean, if I would have been grown bored, I wouldn't talk to you, would I? Jai flashes you a welcoming smile, rolling a coin across the knuckles of augmented fingers. I've heard you had a falling out with Cassia. You even threatened to kill her.
So, Vigdis is snooping in on my Vox line.
That's
I
surprising.
wasn't threatening your Navigator. I didn't even think about it. I was just relaxing in the good company of fragrant Amasak, sweet-scented Laho, and a handful of new friends from the upper decks. And right in the middle of the fun, the Lady Navigator swoops in and starts jabbering about how her head is about to split from the cacophony of colors coming from our cabin. Long story short, Shireen, I had the misfortune of getting a taste of what your officers have been going on about. They say when the Orselio girl becomes upset, everyone in the vicinity loses their minds and is overtaken by Aji. And it hurt like anything. I can only remember everyone huddling in a corner, wailing like klaxons. As for Cassia, I think Cassia was flustered by the state of our clothes, which were very meager back then, as you understand. Before I could get my bearings, the poor thing was gone. The whole situation was awkward. As for the threats, they were addressed to one of the girls I'd been foolish enough to invite to our little party. That Cassia used the confusion to pilfer a full pouch of the Laho from under my nose.
Which was very meager. What is Laho? Common form of recreational stimulant that consists of a rolled paper stuffed with a plant-derived substance. When lit, the substance emits smoke that is inhaled through the tube. Ah, drugs. Oh well. I mean, Cassia is really cute in this game, but I think in real life I would be very scared of her.
Oh, I have no doubt you will.
Oh well. Let's go and talk to Cassia. Without Belisarius' core, the Empire is stagnant. Who is that?
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
You know, I've heard rumors that you're not getting along well with the crew. Panic flashes in her ruby-red eyes, and your heart starts beating a little faster, while your hands go cold. Oh.
Not here. I'm begging you. Aren't noblemen supposed to discuss such things away from the servants?
Willpower test succeeded? I wonder what happens if you fail. Like, does it just affect you more? Cassia says in almost a whisper. Alright, let's go to my study, and no one will disturb us here.
Then lead the way, and I will answer all of your questions.
When he is awake, they advance more in a decade than they do otherwise in 10,000 years. I still don't think I ever heard the name Belisarius Core in the game so far. What is it you wanted to talk about, Lord Captain? I have nothing to say to your unfounded accusations about my conflicts with the crew. I cannot recall my having a single quarrel with any of your people during my entire time aboard. Well, we heard quite the different things. Ah, he's the Archmagus Dominus of Adeptus Astartes. Ah. And not only did we hear about quite a lot of things, we can also mention quite a lot of things. You know, you've been willfully changing entries in the ship's logbook and forbidding officers from reporting it to Abelard. Oh hey, back to differ. I read numerous books on Astartes and can swear on House Orselia's honor that your officers are entering data in complete contravention of regulation. False terms, random distances between lines, spelling mistakes, and even the simplest of words. I've spent the last few cycles correcting the latest log entries, and I thought it would please Mace Abelard, as he is so fond of order. Interesting. But I mean, if it's just correcting, why is Abelard upset? Or maybe because it was just not really openly told what she's doing, right? And yet the Seneschal did not appreciate my efforts for some reason, called them an outrage. Even though mere days before he had been swaddling me in warm yellow words. I noticed all your people do this when they are expressing sympathy. I merely wanted to repay the Seneschal with the same courtesy. Perhaps he finds my friendliness off-putting. Oh. But yeah, I guess always having lived in complete seclusion, it's very hard for Cassia to interact normally with people, right? Oh boy. You must have had quite the falling out with Jay if she's threatening to kill you. Cassia's ruby eyes become round, and an unbidden flush suffers her pale face with a rosy tint. We didn't. I didn't. That is our private business. The issue was between me and Lady Jai. Lord Captain, please pay it no heed. We made our peace long ago. And I will have you know, no one threatened me. Your information is incorrect. The messenger you rebuked butchered his own family and then killed himself. I haven't rebuked a single errand boy on this ship. Cassia ponders this for a moment. I think I remember. A kind young man with a shy smile and skillful fingers with too much rotten ochre in his shoulders. I grew tired of this disgusting colour and advised him to lighten his burden by casting the weight off his shoulders. He did not come back the next day, or ever again. Yikes. So his family and his own life was his burden? Oh boy. During the war voyage, you gave the wrong orders, which led to the vessel shifting off course and the service bay being destroyed. I saw something in the warp. Something vast, predatory, shimmering with indescribable colors. It came from nowhere and stared at the ship with hundreds of hungry eyes, right there in our path. I decided to change the course while it was still possible, but did not want to so panic. Would it have been better to tell the crew we were heading straight into Monto's gaping maw? I guess not. The officers are reluctant to be quartered next to your chambers because of the constant emotional outbursts it causes them. Some even maim themselves, and others. I already told you, I cannot control my abilities. What else do you want from me? Will I be assigned a pariah chaperone? Or will you put me in suppressing shackles? Alright, so one last thing. Would you mind telling me why you needed 100 species of birds and what you used them for? Admittedly, I'm at a loss of myself. The day we arrived on Footfall, I sent a request to the ship's quartermaster and asked him to get me Songbird. But he never asked for clarification, and shortly before we left, I had a countless number of cages delivered to me, all wrapped in bright red panic with flickering tints of fear. There was a bird in every one. Oh, poor birds. I don't have a good feeling how this is going to end. I was so excited. I thought I would have 100 friends instead of just one. They were squawking so piteously I let the poor things out, even fed them my breakfast and dinner. But the stupid birds would not stop chittering even after bedtime. They were dashing about the room, smacking me in the face with their wings, and defecating. I became angry, and suddenly they started pecking at each other's eyes and attacking me. Then I became afraid, and they fell over dead. I do not think I want to keep pets anymore. Oh boy. Yikes. So, that explains what happens to the birds. I wonder if there's any way for her to learn more how to keep her powers in check. Sounds like Cassia's warp influenced. It sounds more like she can just influence others, right? I think I've heard enough. Will you share your thoughts with me? Okay. We could tell her you're truly a monster. Very harsh. I mean, it really seems like she's trying. I mean, she also has like quite unstable powers. I mean, more stable than Idira, I guess, but still very unstable and also risking lots of lives. You know, you have a kind soul, but have difficulty reaching out to people. But you know, I could teach you the art of communication, if you like. That would be wonderful. My education in Uric 5 was cut short, but I realized by then the wisdom of books is a poor substitute for the wisdom of experience. Very well, since we are done with this misunderstanding, I would like to change the subject. It would only be fair for me to ask you a few questions now, wouldn't it? Cassia hesitates, continues in a less confident tone. Do not mistake me. I'm not going to accuse you of anything. It's just that you are the most worthy interlocutor on the entire ship, and you are always so busy. He didn't even ask something so far. So, what would you like to ask? I read a treatise by Paces de Mobius very recently, who claimed that subjects would never believe their new ruler was better than the old one unless the old one had been a tyrant. No matter the circumstances, the lowborn rebel become deluded by their prospects and rebel in favor of their base desires. What do you make of it? You need to become Cassia's best friend and help her control her Psyker powers. Working on that, I don't know if they are... But I mean, it's not really Psyker powers, right? But it seems to be more than like your usual Navigator. But is it Psyker? I mean, mechanically, her powers don't seem to disrupt the veil, so... I don't know. Oh boy. Let's see if we can try to shift her view to a little bit more favorable of the lowborn. Commerce succeeded. Which is basically just using your subjects. Low Imperium. Questions a ruling house. Navigators are specialized kind of Psykers, if I remember correctly. Ah, okay. I don't know too much about the lore, so might very well be. She's technically a Psyker, just a different form, but this is unusual. She shouldn't be able to affect the world around her as much. Yeah, she definitely seems like a very special case. I think we can't say anything very iconoclast, so... I don't know. Your interpretation of the classical text is not entirely correct. If the subjects have grown accustomed to the ruling house, all the sovereign must do is refrain from breaching long-standing traditions. Adjust unwanted laws as gradually as you would shift the bed of a flooded river, and no one will ever take power from you. At least sounds kind of smart, but also kind of dogmatic. Cassia thinks for a moment, and then smiles. Indeed, I was not wrong about your merits, or your ability to hold a conversation. I hope my second question does not confound you either. According to the 20 tomes penned by the preacher Istefan, the Forgotten, mercy and cruelty go through the world hand in hand, but people flock only to the pen on the scales. Would you rather inspire fear in your followers, or be magnanimous and choose all? One must be a tyrant, a friend, and a jester to one's subject. Just be everything. And very chaotic. I will exercise restraint and lenience in my actions. Excessive suspicion and mistrust harden the hearts of the people and turn them against each other. Ah, succeeded. There's so much power in your words. Power that makes me want to join you. I understand now why your subjects are eager to follow you. Aww. I admit I was afraid we were too different, and yet you helped me realize that I can be candid with you. Right, please continue. I must confess that sometimes I can hardly bear the burden the house has placed upon me. I feel I'm not doing my best. Tell me how you, heir to a protectorate, can bear the responsibility for billions of lives day after day and not stoop under all the weight. Oh boy. Probably the answer is not caring too much about the single people. But it sounds like Cassia is more powerful than normal, considerably more powerful. Definitely, but I mean, also she's like the future head of the house, right? So I think even for her family, she's quite powerful. Very good question, but it is not always easy. But I try to lead the dynasty towards prosperity by worthy means. Thank you for your patience, Edward. You're helping me to see the world in different colors. A novel experience for me. Our conversations hold a special place in my heart. Allow me to bid you farewell for now. I'm heading back to my chambers to consider today's conversation. Aww. But I really like her. I really like both what the navigators can do. I really like her struggle, and it's such a cool ability to be able to see the emotions of others. Like, definitely one of my favorite characters so far in the game. Probably like Heinrix, Cassia. Well, mainly those two. If you want something fun, the more bosses you kill, the more trophies appear in your cabin. Ooh, that's cool. I like those things. Let's have a look. What is this? A stone. A bizarre fragment hung on a trophy board. The light, smooth surface of the object is dotted with dark spots and crumbling holes. Curious. I think my favorite companion was Yrliet. Yrliet? Oh, I haven't gotten to her so far, so let's see how she's going to be. But I mean, in general, it seems really interesting to have a Xenos companion. I'm just a little bit unsure about... Yeah, I know the Elder. I'm just a little bit unsure about if I'm going to like Marazhai, or how he's called. I don't think so. Alright, off to Furibundus. I would love to have more navigators inside. Oh boy. This game will go forever. Always random events. Lord Captain, I bring dire news. A feud has broken up between the clans that maintain the Void Shield arrays. Rumor has it that the late Lady Theodora was seen on the lower decks, and so one of the families calls for rebellion against the usurper of the Void Ship. That is, you. So far, no one believes their mere tales, but unrest has begun at the fringes of the compartments. The ship's enforcers are ready to eliminate the Instigation clan or pacify the entire Void Shield crew. The decision is yours. Interesting. I wonder if it's just a weird effect by the warp? How she's manifesting, or... I don't know, if someone's trying to harm us. What exactly is this story about Lady Theodora? Rumors of Lady Theodora's presence on the Void Ship have been circulating for a long time, and appear to be a deliberate provocation rather than ordinary drunken revelings. Perhaps someone is Perhaps someone is intentionally stirring up the masses to rebel against you. Or perhaps it is the influence of the war. Enforcers are already investigating, but right now we need to stop the conflict from escalating any further. As long as the unrest continues, the Void Ship's shield will not be operating at full capacity. Yeah, I wasn't a fan personally about Marazhai, but I can see why you'd maybe want to recruit him. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the circumstances, but it feels so hard to justify. Oh boy. My romance Cassia might play through as a good romance in my opinion. Well, that's nice. I'm really curious if you're able to get like good endings for characters and romances, or if it's 40k and everything is dark. But the source of the rumors and punish those responsible. I don't want any unnecessary deaths. Lord Captain, as Seneschal Wazarian would say, there are no innocents in such cases. The clans are endearing the entire Void Ship. Endangering. The clans are endangering the entire void ship, tussling over strange and obvious false rumor. If you so desire, I will convey your wishes to the enforcers later, but right now the unrest must be stopped and the people returned to their direct duties or replaced. I mean, I can understand that. On the other hand, not only being like caring about the people, even if you're ruthless, you need your crew, so just killing everyone seems a bit harsh. You know, my wishes, Voxmaster, are for the enforcers to sort out the situation before we forfeit the cruel wholesale, investigate the rumors, and find the real culprits, and no violence. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. Yeah, you can't romance Argenta. Sister of battle and everything. Only thoughts and eyes for the Emperor. Sad she's already dedicated to the desiccated Husk Emperor. Yep. I don't think it really matters who we take along. But oh well. Just in case, there could always be a battle or two. Yeah, pretty much. They are the original brides of the Emperor. You'd need to be something special to attract her. Yeah, I mean, I saw many people on the internet complaining that you can't
rise to the top.
romance Argenta.
Left in the dust.
At least from what I know about 40k and how I see Argenta, it seems kind of fitting that she's just not interested in anything which would sidetrack her from her duty, so it seems kind of fitting. However, I know the feeling of wanting to romance a character and you can't do that. Heinrix. So yeah. Hello there, Opticon. Access has been granted to the following options: information exchange, strengthening of diplomatic links, trade deals, donations. Why can't I give you... Give the planetary data to Opticon. I seek the friendship of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The priesthood of the Adeptus Mechanicus is interested in, considers expeditious cooperation with the rogue traders. Under the terms of the Treaty of Mars, it is willing to provide services to the Von Valensis dynasty. The priority of service tasks can be raised if diplomatic links are strengthened. The Cognizance Fleet will be glad, alternative, unavailable, to accept any samples of sacred technology, samples of profaned xenotech, miscellaneous items. Reminder: storage, study, and/or disposal of the aforementioned objects within the exception of 3 miscellaneous items is the preferential right of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The explorator feed will also accept information about planets in the Koronus Expanse that have not previously been recorded in the planetary register. Guess we just have to talk a little bit more and hope we get an option to offer those. Why do you want information about planets? A many-faceted study of the Koronus Expanse is the sacred mission operational objective of the Cognizance Fleet. Information about the planets and star systems of the Koronus Expanse will be compiled, studied, and transferred to the holy repositories of Mars upon completion of the Great March of Exploration mission. This process increases the totality of knowledge and decreases the totality of ignorance in the universe. Ha! Now I can do that. And then the award shows the data slate. I have collected planetary data that may interest you. With a respectful nod, the tech priest takes the data slate. The collected data is of interest, significant, compliant with the criteria for cooperation. The Cognizance Fleet thanks you for your contribution and guarantees the provision of a reciprocal service indulgence in the form of parts and equipment. Reporting: the Kafferfred supply line is ready to continue cooperation with the Von Valensis dynasty in the spheres of planetary reconnaissance. Oh, I can do that again? So I just have to scan more planets and then I can repeat that? That's cool. Let's see if we can get something more. Ooh. Rotative Manipulator. Using reload for any weapon costs 1 AP less. Ooh, and a large medkit. Let's equip that one. Yeah, pretty much you'd need to be like an Imperious Saint or something to have a chance of Argenta. I think so too. Here we go. Blessed Bolter Casing. Single attacks with bolter weapons automatically hit the target. Ooh. I don't think we're using a bolter so far. But I'd say let's look for one. Because automatically hit sounds really cool. I'm second coming of Emperor. Wait, I was joking. Is put down by Inquisition. I do worry that they did like in Wrath of the Righteous, where they locked me out of romancing my darling Camilla without mods. Yeah. As I always say, gender locking romance really, in my opinion, doesn't add anything, so, well. I can always recommend Toybox, which I already did to you, Diana, I think. I mean, that's how we're going to romance Heinrix in this playthrough. Alright, I wonder if we'll ever be able to go to this altar. I want to go there. But who knows? Okay. So off to Trinitas and then to System Speculo.